It is 12 noon. Welcome back. This is Three Man Front on Jox on this Football Friday. If you missed any of our interviews, Wimp Sanderson, Mike Rodak, you can always download the Three Man Front podcast right here on Jox. So the Orioles are in town, right?
They host the Dodgers.
Oh. Landrum's about to get on a plane here momentarily as he will be on the sideline tomorrow for Navy and UAB. And Molly and I were just asking him, what's he doing for fun tonight? And he said, I'm nothing, just hanging out in the hotel. And I said, well, the Orioles in town? And he just checked, and sure enough, the Dodgers are taking on the Orioles tonight in Baltimore.
That'd be fun to watch.
And so now Landrum's on his phone texting probably David Crane and some other folks wanting to see if, hey, you want to go catch a game?
Well, that would be really thoughtful, Landrum. Landrum would, I'd go by myself. I have found a ticket, I know, a ticket as low as $14.
So twice as expensive as the Alabama game.
So you could buy two Alabama tickets for one Baltimore Orioles ticket against the Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani. Wow. Dodgers coming off a 3-game losing series to the Pittsburgh Pirates. First time in 10 years that they had lost 3 games in a row to the Pittsburgh Pirates.
First base line near the foul pole, lower level. If ball gets over net, I could catch $23 ticket.
I think you should.
I think you should do it.
That would be awesome.
I have always wanted to go there.
I was going to ask if you've ever been to Camden.
I've ridden around it. Okay.
Do it.
All right.
What time do you land? You got time?
Yeah, we got time.
Okay. Well, we do this normally every Friday at 12:30. Like I said, Landrum is about to jump on a plane with the UAB football team as they head to Annapolis, Maryland. So we're going to do this a little bit earlier than we typically do, but this is what we call Bet It or Forget It.
The following is for entertainment purposes only. Listener discretion is advised.
Three-man fronts. Bet it or forget it.
So did you guys feel pretty good about last week?
No.
I did.
Conrad did. Conrad went 4-1 last week.
I went 2-3. Alabama, the under, that hit.
Molly went 3-2.
Auburn hit.
Ooh.
We all picked Auburn.
Yeah, we did.
But Notre Dame, not so much.
So if you're keeping score at home, kids, we got 2 members of our team, 7-3. Another one, 6-4. Landrum and Molly would be the 2 at 7-3. But how about Conrad? Nice comeback last week.
Yeah, good job.
Should have been 5-0.
6-4.
Well, the sun shines on the dogs. No, good job, Conrad. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
After last week, you deserved it.
I'm sure I'll be 2-3 this week.
All right, get your pen and paper out because we're about to give you some winners. Game number 1, Michigan versus Oklahoma. The Sooners are a 5.5-point favorite. The point total is 45.5. Michigan visits Norman, Oklahoma for the first time in school history. Oklahoma is 9-4 against the spread under Venables versus non-conference opponents. Sharon Moore is 1-3 straight up on the road as the head coach of the Wolverines. But how about this stat? Oklahoma is 56-7 straight up at home in the last 10 years and 8-3 against the spread as a home favorite in the last 3 years. So let's start with Molly. Ladies first.
For this game, I know I'm the Big Ten graduate in the room, but I'm going to pick the Boomer Sooners. OU.
Wait, do that again. Do that again for the camera.
That's what they do. They go, OU. Because I know Conrad went too. I don't know if you noticed that.
I wasn't paying attention to that.
Yeah. And then Oklahoma came to Nebraska. And so, we got to meet the cheer teams and stuff. So, yeah, they do a little OU. But no, I like Oklahoma. I like them big here. I actually saw a stat where...
You like them big?
Well, I mean, I like them to cover, I guess I should say.
Oh.
Yeah.
But you're going to give us a point number.
No. Oklahoma, they've won each of their last 13 games as a favorite against a top 15 opponent. And Michigan, like you said, has lost, 3 of its last 4 road games. Also, Bryce Underwood, I mean, he hasn't really proven anything to us yet. And plus, they're going into a tough environment. I like the Sooners. Give me Oklahoma.
Okay. How about you, Landrum? You like the Boomer Sooners or you like the Michiganders on the road?
And the waving wheat can sure smell sweet. Oklahoma big.
All right. Are you going to go Broadway here and give us a tune, Conrad, or just give us a pick?
No, sorry, my vocal cords aren't in the condition the Landrums are in. I'm going to go with Oklahoma big as well. I know, not very interesting. We're all going with the same pick. But no, I love John Mateer. Talked about him all offseason. And like Molly said, I saw what that Oklahoma crowd did to a veteran quarterback like Jalen Milroe last year. And Bryce Underwood is not ready for that. So, yeah, give me Oklahoma big. John Mateer has a big day, and he becomes a focal point in the early season Heisman discussion after this week.
All right, so it's a clean sweep for Boomer Sooner. All right, Ole Miss is playing in Lexington, Kentucky, taking on the Wildcats. Now, we are making an adjustment on the fly here because this point spread has gone down to 8.5.
But the total's staying the same.
The total's staying the same at 50.5. But it was 10.5 at the beginning of the week. It's now down to 8.5. Not sure why, but it's minus 8.5. So for the purpose of this contest, we're going 8.5, but the point total 50.5. Last year, as we all remember, Kentucky got the big win on the road. Ole Miss was held to a season-low 353 yards in that game at Vaught-Hemingway. Kiffin is 1-4 straight up, 0-5 against the spread in SEC openers. Kentucky has lost their last 8 home games versus Power 4 opponents. They are 1-7 against the spread. So let's start with Conrad. Ole Miss 8.5.
Well, fortunately, I'm going to play the total, so that one doesn't impact my decision at all here. It's a revenge game for Ole Miss. I think they're going to be fired up for this game. I don't think they're going to lose this game. But I do think that having a first-year quarterback on the road in the SEC, he had a couple interceptions last week. I know one of them wasn't necessarily his fault, but I think Kentucky's defense will be fired up. I think the crowd will be fired up at least for the beginning. So I like the under.
Okay, under
50.5.
Okay. All right. How about you, Molly?
Pat, you're going to like this one. I'm taking the Rebels.
There you go.
I know
Good girl.
that goes despite everything you just said. But, like you said, this is a revenge game for Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. And if we're going to see the Kentucky that we saw against Toledo, I think the Rebels are going to be just fine. So I like Ole Miss to cover.
Revenge game, nothing. This is an audition for Lane Kiffin.
For the Alabama job?
You dadgum right. This is a job interview before the interview.
So he's running
You got to
it up.
impress Greg Byrne. You got to reassure people like Conrad and the Crimson Tide faithful that you don't lose to teams like Kentucky. Forget about last year, what happened at home. That was an anomaly. I'm with our buddy Brett Norsworthy. I like Ole Miss big. Give me the Rebels.
All right.
Hotty. Got it.
Next game, the Florida Gators. They are hosting the South Florida Bulls. The Gators are a 17.5-point favorite. The point total is 56.5. This is the fourth meeting between these two, and South Florida has covered the last two, including in 2022, when they only lost 31-28, and they were a 24-point underdog in that game. Napier is only 4-8 against the spread as a home favorite. The Gators are 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 games against the American Conference. The Bulls, meanwhile, they're 4-0 against the spread against the SEC in the last 3 years. Thanks to Alabama, there's 2 of those games in which they covered against the Tide. All right, so let's start with you, Landrum. Florida, minus 17.5, 56.5, the point total against the Bulls.
Florida coach Billy Napier, he ain't scared of nobody. Unless you're Russian and you have an athletic quarterback. Give me South Florida. Plus the points.
17.5.
Yes, sir.
All right. How about you, Molly?
I'm with Landrum on this one. I like South Florida too. My initial thought was the over because I was hoping to kind of see some offense in this game, but I looked at the radar and it looks like there's going to be some scattered thunderstorms, which could affect some of that. But I do like South Florida to cover.
Okay.
Yeah, my gut tells me this is the easiest pick of the week. I think South Florida easily covers this one. They looked dominant last week. Wasn't super impressed by what I saw from Florida's offense either. So, yeah, I think Alex Golish, I think they keep it close. And I'll say it, not going to be super shocked if USF walks out with a win.
There you go.
Okay. That's for the record. Next game, Tuscaloosa, Alabama. A much talked about University of Louisiana Monroe Warhawks coming to town. And we're going to go 34.5. So we made the change there. It's not 36.5. It's 34.5 because that's what it currently is in Vegas.
What's total?
Point total stays at 50.5. The Tide, they've won 11 straight versus the Sun Belt Conference, but they're 4-7 against the spread during that time frame. ULM is 0-17 versus SEC teams. They're 6-11 against the spread in those 17 games. The Warhawks are just 1-6 against the spread as underdogs of 20 or more points, and 1-4 against the spread versus the SEC over the last 3 years. Meanwhile, the Tide, they're 8-2 against the spread as non-conference chalk of 28 or more points. So let's start with the resident Bammer. Conrad, you taking the Tide in the 34.5 or the over-under of 50.5?
They get one mulligan with my heart, and I'm going to give it to them. I think Alabama comes out. They show a lot of effort. They're pissed off, like Kalen DeBoer said. I'm taking Alabama big. I think they win 49-10 over ULM tomorrow. Not saying that's going to calm any of the concerns necessarily, but I think you see a much different looking team tomorrow, and if I'm wrong about that, then I'm fading Alabama the rest of the year. But for right now, I like Alabama big tomorrow.
How about you, Landry?
I like Alabama big, but what I like better is the point total. 50.5. I'm going over.
All right. How about you, Molly?
Another one I'm with Landrum on.
Why are you copying all of his
Well,
picks?
no, I'm not trying to copy him. I have all these written down.
We're just
Simpatico?
Yes, we think a lot alike. And we're leading the standings.
That's really scary, Conrad.
So
it's scary for you two.
Well, no, I think the over is the best bet in this situation. I don't know. I'm staying away from the spread. I've been burned too many times.
All right, the final game of the week. The Auburn Tigers hosting the Ball State Cardinals. Auburn is a 42.5-point favorite, one of the largest home spreads against an opponent ever at Jordan-Hare Stadium. 52.5 is the point total. Cardinals are 0-6 straight up, 1-4-1 against the spread versus Power 4 teams. Auburn since 2014 is, however, just 11-19-1 as a favorite of 20 or more points at Jordan-Hare Stadium. So let's start with Molly. You like Auburn in the points or Ball State as the underdog?
See, 42, I have no doubt that Auburn will go in and clearly take care of business against Ball State. I mean, if you watched Ball State last week, I mean, they're not very good at all. But 42, that's a lot of points. So similar to my Alabama pick, I'm actually more comfortable in taking the over here.
52.5.
I have no doubt in my mind that Auburn will run the scoreboard, but like I said, 42, that's a lot.
All right, so you're taking the over.
Yeah.
All right, how about you, Landrum?
Last time I checked, Keith Winning is not playing quarterback for Ball State. You might be like, who is Keith Winning? I was the same before I went to Wikipedia. Ball State, they're in Muncie. David Letterman went to school there. That's about all I know. I do know that they're not very good. I like the over in this game. Air high five. Over 52.5. A lot of points, and most of them with Auburn.
As tempting as that was for me, I'm going to take the under. And the reason I'm taking the under is because this team got shut out by Purdue last week, and they are going up against a better Auburn offense, and an Auburn offense that, according to Hugh Freeze, they're going to look to get Deuce Knight some looks, maybe Ashton Daniels as well. I think Auburn wins 49-0. Put up big points, but they shut out Ball State to get the under.
All right. Good luck to my teammates
Landrum
as
did.
thing. So everything else, there's been a little bit of difference.
Teamwork makes our dreams work.
Great minds think alike.
That's right.
Landrum, he gets on that Lear jet of his as he flies to Annapolis, Maryland.
Herb Street let me borrow it.
That's awfully nice of him. Wheels up there for Landrum Roberts. More Friday on Jox. It is 12:18. Welcome back in. It's a Football Friday here on Jox. Pat, Molly, Conrad with you the rest of the way. Landrum heading north to Baltimore, to be exact, as the UAB Blazers will be taking on the Navy Midshipmen tomorrow. Pregame show that you can hear right here on Jox beginning at 1:30. Joining us as he does each and every Friday. He's a little bit tied up covering some other things today, but he did carve out a couple of minutes to join us on the program, and that's Kyle Parmley from Starnes Media. Kyle, we are getting tonight, and it should be a really fun night around high school football in these parts.
Yeah, thanks for shifting the schedule a little bit. I appreciate that. But, yeah, tonight's going to be fun. Under the Lights game of the week is heading to Tech. Hewitt Trussville tonight, right?
For those that I've been kind of setting first two here tonight over to Hewitt.
I'm really looking for Class 7A from a last week and around high school. And Vestavia made them look like a 5A team last week. And it was really impressive to watch. Auburn actually rebounded and got a region win last night. So, this Auburn team is no slouch, but Vestavia Hills is off to a great start. Quarterback Charlie Taff is playing at an unbelievable level right now. He's got a couple guys that in the backfield with him and out wide that are, really helping him carry the load. And that defense is playing well too. And they get their first road test tonight going to Hewitt Trussville. And Pat, I know you've seen them a couple times. The Huskies, this will be their first real challenge of the year. They played two teams early on that they should have handled business against, and they did just that. So the biggest question mark heading into tonight is what the Hewitt Trussville offense looks like. Quarterback Zach Benedict starts the first two games, but goes down with an injury last week. And, head coach Josh Floyd has been kind of coy about it, as you would expect. He hasn't really divulged too much of what the plan might be. But from what it appears, it's probably going to be one of the Floyd guys taking a lot of the snaps, whether that's freshman Jack Floyd, who's gotten some time in relief each of the last 2 weeks, or maybe even senior Parker Floyd, who's primarily a linebacker but has taken plenty of snaps on the offensive side of the ball in the past. So what kind of game plan this Hewitt Trussville offense, the coaching staff has cooked up will be interesting to see, and they'll try to keep Vestavia on their toes and, give them a run.
All right, Kyle, got to ask you about the game that I will be a part of tonight as well, and that's going to be Mountain Brook as we host Hueytown tonight. So Mountain Brook losing to Parker, the defending state champions. Obviously, last week I know Hueytown had an early bye week. What are you looking at this one between the Spartans and Hueytown?
Yeah, well, one thing, if you like going out to Spartan Stadium to check out Mountain Brook football, you might want to do it tonight because this is their only home game of September.
That's right.
They got
crazy.
a few road games in a row right after this, but also a little quirk in the schedule for Mountain Brook. We're going to talk about a lot of teams starting region play tonight, but Mountain Brook has got one more non-region game before they kind of get into the meat of their schedule. But this Hueytown team, you mentioned they were off last week, but the first week of the year, Clay Chalkful really took it to him. So not 100% sure what we're getting in this Hueytown bunch yet, but Mountain Brook and that loss to Parker last week, not totally unexpected, right? Parker won by, 2 touchdowns, but it's almost like just another repeat. This is the third time that Mountain Brook and Parker had played in the last 2 years. And each time Mountain Brook has had opportunities and failed to capitalize on them, and Parker pulls away in the second half. And that's the way last week's game, went as well. Mountain Brook got in the red zone 3 times against Parker in the first half last week and came away with 3 total points. So a little bit disappointing. They'll have to shake that off pretty quick. But another good test. Hueytown has, really been a solid program the last several years in Class 6A. So another good tune-up for the Spartans before they get into region play next week.
So the Hoover Bucks got a big win last week. Their crosstown rival Spain Park 21-10. They're taking on Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, and Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, they're undefeated so last week, 50-24. I've told a couple of people around our region, I think Hillcrest Tuscaloosa is a team that folks need to pay very close attention to. And it'll be interesting tonight, kind of a barometer Hillcrest.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, Jamie Mitchell is such a good football coach at Hillcrest, and they do some – you don't see a lot of other – but this would be a good – I was really impressed with – score was a lot of but the outgame guy that on any they've got linebackers who aren't and wreck the game for you. Almost like you hear last week, even against them, it just never felt like the Hoover defense was in a whole lot of trouble. They're just so solid. They're so good, and they got a lot of talent. And we saw another step for Hoover quarterback Caleb Freeman last week. He's still trying to settle into that role as the starting quarterback, and he threw 3 touchdowns. He played a pretty solid game. He's got some good weapons on the outside that have really kind of allowed him to get off to such a good start. But I'm waiting to see which Hoover running back kind of steps up and becomes that go-to guy. They're trying to figure out. They got between injuries and some inconsistent plays so far, they're still waiting on one guy to kind of step up and become the guy. But I expect Hoover to win this game. But you're right, Hillcrest is no slouch. Maybe compared to what they were the last year or two.
All right, Kyle, let me ask you about this one. You've got 2-0 Chelsea. They're hosting 0-2 Pelham tonight. So Chelsea, they got a big win over Wetumpka last week. Pelham lost a close one, a 1-point loss there to Oak Mountain last week. What do you see in this matchup tonight between Chelsea and Pelham?
Yeah, I was really impressed with how Pelham's been a little down the last few years. And, they lost their first game of the year, but the way they played Oak Mountain last week, if you haven't seen the play, I mean, Oak Mountain beat Pelham on a last-second Hail Mary and then an extra point that Oak Mountain had to make that was 15 yards longer than it normally would because of an excessive celebration penalty. So just a crazy way for Oak Mountain to win. So Pelham has to pick themselves up off the mat after a heartbreaking loss like that when it looked like they were about to upset Oak Mountain. But Ross Newton is clearly doing a good job at Pelham, and he's got them on the right track. And tonight will be a really good test for both teams. I mean, Chelsea, I think they would have – that game against Wetumpka last week was a little closer than they would have liked. Putting 40 points on the board is awesome as far as they're concerned, but Chelsea's still trying to figure out the QB situation. You got 2 guys that are really kind of, going back and forth, and neither one has really separated themselves yet. But Chelsea's running attack is one of the best in 6A with Chase Malone and Morgan Barnes. So I think the Hornets will rely on that ground attack tonight, and if those guys both have really good nights, I think it'll be enough to take down Pelham, but it should be a good game.
All right, so Clay Chalkville last week, they shut out Ramsey 64-0, but they got a little bit of a tougher opponent tonight against Pell City, as Pell City is 2-0 on the season. Give us a preview of this one.
Yeah, Clay Chalkville is I don't even know the right word, dominant they've been in the first 2 games. I mean, because it's not like they were playing terrible opponents, but the way they dismantled Hueytown and Ramsey last week is just like, it's eye-popping. I mean, they've come out the first 2 weeks of the year looking like they're really determined, and they're not. I would expect Clay Chalkville to take care of business, but this Pell City team, they've shown some flashes. As a team that could be on the way to being a lot more competitive than they have the last couple of years. So Clay Chalkville wins this one, but Pell City is they're on the way up too.
All right, Kyle, last one from me at least. You got Homewood. I know a lot of people here in our listening audience interested in 2-0 Homewood as they are taking on Mortimer Jordan, who's 1-1 on the season tonight. Homewood got that shutout win over Briarwood last week, and then Mortimer Jordan getting a close win over Coleman. How do you see that game playing out tonight?
Yeah, I think Homewood is they're gonna be able to pile up the points tonight. I'm thinking they're off to a really good start. They've done exactly what we kind of thought they would. They look good so far.
Well, Kyle, look forward to buying you a barbecue sandwich out at Hewitt-Trussville Stadium on the banks of the Cahaba River tonight. So hopefully you'll come up, and I'll buy you that sandwich.
Love it. Looking forward to seeing you guys out there.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. That's Kyle Parmley joining us from Starnes Media, covers high school football better than anybody in the state of Alabama for Starnes Media. And he joined us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. To your text messages, your phone calls. Nick Saban has just delivered a statement in regards to Kalen DeBoer via the Pat McAfee Show. We'll tell you what he says next. Well, Nick Saban has returned to the site where Conrad had a very bad Saturday night. He's in Norman, Oklahoma.
I had a bad Saturday there, too. It's okay.
I didn't think about that. So both of y'all have had bad experiences in Norman, Oklahoma.
Saturday morning. It was a 11 a.m. kick, but
Ugh, that's
still a
even
loss,
worse.
though. But at least we weren't.
What time did you have to get to the stadium?
Oh, I think I got. So I stayed in Oklahoma City. I think I got to Norman at like 9 o'clock.
What time did you get?
I wasn't cheering, though. I went as a fan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went as just a normal human, not in uniform.
So I am curious, like when you do a road game
Mm-hmm.
as a member of the Nebraska dance team,
Mm-hmm.
do you put your makeup and everything on when you get to the stadium?
Before.
Yeah. So before you get on the team charter or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when for only like true road game I went to as a member of the Spirit Squad was the Wisconsin game. And we got ready at the hotel. You know, obviously they had to check all of our bags and stuff. And then we took the team charters and had the fancy police escort to Camp Randall, which was really fun.
Felt big time.
I felt really cool. But, you know, we got to use the same locker room as them. And that's common in cheer and dance world.
So if it's a home game, do you get ready at the stadium or do you get ready off
Before.
campus and then you?
Mhm.
Okay. It's one of those logistics things.
Yeah. And people don't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually
Okay.
before, though.
Well, Nick Saban is in Norman, Oklahoma. That's where game day is going to be as Michigan is taking on the Oklahoma Sooners. And each and every Friday, he joins Pat McAfee. And he had this to say just a few moments ago in regards to Kalen DeBoer. He says, Kalen is a really good guy. He's a good coach. He's always had success everywhere he's been. Maybe he hasn't had to deal with the kinds of scrutiny in the past. But if you're going to be successful, you got to be able to self-assess and figure out, hey, what can I do better? I know that he's reaching out to a lot of people trying to do that. Hopefully they get it turned around this week and develop some confidence on this team so they can move forward in a positive way, end of quote.
It would be nice to know if he reached out to Nick Saban himself, considering how much money they were paying him. Because, and again, Pat McAfee's not going to do that. He's not going to ask Nick Saban any sort of controversial question. That he would never do that in a million years. But seriously, I'd go, okay, so that's what you're saying, his ability to self-assess. You're getting paid $500,000 a year by the university. What's your assessment of what he should do? Or has he asked you what your assessment of what he should do is? Because, you're paying him good money to be a consultant. This would be a good time to do some consulting, particularly on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, you caught on exactly the same thing I caught on.
It's just kind of a weird answer.
Where he says, I know that he's been reaching out to a lot of people trying to do that in regards to self-assessment. Hopefully they get it turned around this week and develop some confidence on this team so they can move forward in a positive way. So if it's not Nick Saban, who else is he reaching out to?
That's what I want to know.
Because he's got his offensive coordinator
I don't want to know.
Right down the hallway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Before it would be like, hey, let me call my buddy Ryan Grubb up in Seattle and say, hey, take a look at this real quick. Like, what do you think our problem is? Oh, by the way, you're right down the hallway now. You're my offensive coordinator. You're supposed to right all the wrongs. All right, let's get to the phone calls. 1-800-239-WJOX. Miles over in Mississippi joins us. Hey, Miles.
Hey, I hope everyone's doing well.
We are. Hope you are.
Oh, man, I'm great. I just had a plate of some of Memphis's finest pancakes.
Oh, really?
And
pancakes for lunch?
Oh, yeah. I often a little brunch place called Sunrise Memphis. My office is in Memphis, and
okay.
I often find that no matter what kind of trauma, I recommend this to my fellow Alabama fans. I find that no matter what trauma is going on in life, the answer can often be found at the bottom of a short stack. So,
that's a good philosophy to have, Miles.
Pat, before I get to my question, do I understand this right? Are you a Mississippi native?
I am. I was born in Tupelo.
Tupelo. Is your family, are they Mississippian?
Absolutely, through and through.
Really?
Yep. I was born in Tupelo. My dad was born in a little town called Thrasher. My mom was born in a little town called Ryanzi. And my sister was born over in Amory, and my brother was born in Booneville.
I know Amory. I'm in Hernando. So
there you go.
I know Amory. I know Tupelo well. Tupelo's actually got great culinary these days. I don't know if you ever go back, but we got some great food out there. Okay. Yeah, well, I wondered about that because I always hear you talking about the Cardinals and then that you were a Tupelo native.
Yep. Sure. Right. Yep. All my kinfolks still run around on those hillsides over there in Corinth and Booneville and all those places. Yep.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, good people.
Good people over there. Salt of the earth people.
Absolutely. Someone made a comment to me, and it got me thinking. Someone, who has been an Alabama fan for, since God talked to Moses, and he said that as far as the heat, the scrutiny, the skepticism, he said he's never seen it quite like this. Pat, have you seen it quite like this?
You talking about the outcry?
Yes.
Oh yeah. oh yeah. I mean, it's been a long time, Miles. It's probably been it reminds me the outcry. I'm not talking about the team. I'm talking about the outcry. Reminds me a lot of when Alabama was preseason ranked number 3 in America and they went to the Rose Bowl and lost to UCLA that was unranked. And that Alabama team was loaded, and Dubose won the 99 SEC championship against Florida. And there was a lot of, optimism. And then, Bama was number 3 in America, and they just went out and laid a big old goose egg against UCLA. And then it just went downhill after that, big time. That the outcry reminds me a lot of that, because there were a lot of high expectations for this Alabama team this year. And after game 1, you're playing an unranked team, and they look good doing it. That's the one that reminds me the most in regards to the outcry.
It's okay. That makes sense, and I remember that vividly. Let me ask you this. I hope Coach DeVore can turn it around. Certainly, you want every coach to have success at your school, but this question. But if Alabama does, Coach Franchione says, "I've had enough of this. These people are crazy. I got to get out of here." If that happens, Signetti runs his program a lot like Nick Saban did. Very process-oriented, very efficient, and I think he's even more than Coach Saban. Because does he get a call?
I would find it, just my opinion, I find it hard to believe that they would go that route, even for a phone call. But I'm kind of, that's the conversation we're having around the office right now, is if this thing does continue to go south, I just don't think that I don't think a lot of Alabama fans are going to be happy with the proposals of some of the names that would get thrown out there, and that includes Kirk Signetti. I'm not poo-pooing on that idea that you just gave us of his name.
Sure.
I'm just telling you, I think the Vox Populi is not going to be very happy about that.
Sure.
I mean, they're going to shoot much higher than that. I'm not saying that those persons that they're going to shoot for are going to be available or even return a phone call, but
Miles, as an Alabama fan, if that happened, I might become a Nebraska fan next year.
You're welcome anytime.
Well, my idea was to have a seance and bring Tom Landry back from the dead, but nobody listened.
Okay, now we're talking, Miles. Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hey, listen, Miles. I'm not saying that you're wrong at all. I just my opinion about Kurt Signetti is, I think that I think that Jimbo Fisher would have a better chance at Alabama than Kurt Signetti.
Ooh, wow. This is going to be interesting. Well, like I said, okay.
Yeah, if a couple more losses get in that loss column, it's going to be a very, very interesting fall, and conversations are going to be aplenty with some interesting names.
Well, my last question before I keep monopolizing your airwaves.
Great questions, by the way. No, you go. Fire away.
The buyout has been talked about, and this is, like I say, I've never been an athletic director. I've never negotiated a contract. But I do ask this question. As much as, let's say I'm the athletic director and there's a coach I really, really want, it doesn't seem responsible to me to have that big a buyout. Like I would balk at hiring someone, even if they were, Tom Landry back from the dead, if I have to have that huge a buyout. It just doesn't seem fiscally responsible. Am I off on that?
No. Listen, I mean, when you start looking through the contract of Kalen DeBoer and seeing that Alabama put that price tag as high as they did, a little bit, it was very surprising, because
you need to get something done in 48 hours.
Yeah, I mean, that was the time frame that Greg Byrne, the pressure that he put on himself when he told the media that I'm going to get this done in 48 hours. But if Kalen DeBoer were to turn around and leave Alabama for another job, the buyout is not $69.3 million. It's significantly less. So Nah, and the way Alabama structured it's not like the Auburn situation a couple years ago with Brian Harsin or Gus Malzahn, where they're going to have to pay something off within 30 or 60 days. Alabama structured it to where if they decide to move on, they're on the hook for $69.3 million. Now, it would drop to about $60 million if he gets to December 1st and they haven't fired him. But let's just say he gets to December 1st, then you fire him. It's $60 million, and that can be paid out through 2031 on monthly installments. So it's not like they got to come up with the money immediately, but that's about $10.5 to $11 million a year that you're paying somebody not to coach, which in this day and time of NIL and fiscal responsibility at your athletic department, I think that would be a very tough pill to swallow at Alabama.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder if he were to take another job, even after would that mitigate the buyout?
Yes, absolutely, it would. Yeah, if he would take another job, whatever amount of money, let's say he goes back to Fresno State and he makes $4 million a year, then that's going to offset. That's $4 million less that Alabama would have to pay him.
Well, I've got to find a way to get hired as a college coach and get fired immediately.
You better believe it. Jimmy is a very, very rich man based on all these buyouts and whatnot. So, Miles, we always appreciate your call. I hope you have a good weekend.
Great to talk to y'all. Take care.
1-800-239-WJOX. You can be next. Give us a call, or you can shoot us a text on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. So this weekend, you're going to notice on the 25-yard line at Bryant-Denny Stadium, also at Jordan-Hare Stadium, you will see corporate sponsorships. At Auburn, you'll see the U.S. Navy. They'll have their logo there on the field at Bryant-Denny. Oklahoma has just added a sponsor, Riverbend Casino.
Ooh.
So 9 of the 16 SEC schools now have branded logos on their fields. So Oklahoma joins Texas, South Carolina, Alabama, and Auburn as schools that have that already. Arkansas had it last year and a couple others. So Oklahoma, you will see that as you watch the Michigan game coming up this weekend.
Well, one of our favorite brands is Big Whiskeys because they are your place for great food of all varieties. They have a full menu with apps, salads, burgers, and steaks. They have a great bar with unique cocktails, over 120 whiskeys, including whiskey on tap, and plenty of screens so that you can catch all the college football and NFL action all weekend long. They also offer different food and drink specials for each day of the week. They have happy hour, and the kitchen is open late every single night. So go check them out in the Stadium Trace Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met.
So we just told you about some of the quotes that Nick Saban had on the Pat McAfee show, talking about how he does know that Kalen DeBoer has been reaching out to some folks around the coaching world just to talk about self-assessment and doing some things to try to obviously get his football team turned around. The other comment that Nick Saban made about the situation in Tuscaloosa, he says, one thing about coaching at Alabama, they expect you to win every game. There's a high expectation, and the standard is really, really high for what you're supposed to accomplish and what you're supposed to do. I mean, Nick's the one that
I was about to say he's the one that caused that to be the standard, which I think we're all grateful for that, but
Go ahead, Conrad. Get it off your
What?
chest.
just tell us what he's doing. Like, seriously. I mean, because if it continues the way that it looks after the first game, right? And let's say that Alabama has a very disappointing season that, that seems like a possibility at this point. Like, seriously, what are you paying this guy for? I'm tired of, oh, yeah, he's been reaching out to the right people, and Nick Saban going on the Pat McAfee show or game day and offering these tidbits on Alabama. They are paying you $500,000. Do something. Have a conversation. And I get it. He probably has the approach of, hey, I'm not going to be the one to initiate. If Kalen DeBoer or Kane Womack or Ryan Grubb or Mo Linguist or whoever wants to give me a call or come, to my office, I'm happy to talk to him. But it doesn't make sense, man. What are you wasting this money for? He's right there. He is right there.
Yeah, because according to the title, when he was hired or given the contract, the $500,000 annual salary at Alabama, the title is an advisor to the athletic program, a position that he inherited the moment that he decided that he was going to step down.
Some transparency on that would be nice.
So in this role, Saban works from an office in Bryant-Denny Stadium when he's in Tuscaloosa, because he's not in Tuscaloosa a lot, and he provides supported advice to the athletic program.
I would just be curious what the response would be, right? Because right now it's all speculation. But let's say somebody asked, let's say Alabama, they go and win tomorrow, but it's not super impressive. And then somebody asked Kalen DeBoer after the game or on Monday at his press conference, hey, have you reached out to Coach Saban? I know it's been a little bit of a rocky start to the year. And Kalen DeBoer's response to that is, no, I have not reached out to Coach Saban. I don't think that would sit well with a lot of people.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I said it last year. I have no idea what he does for Alabama outside of him wearing a floppy hat during the Verbo commercial. I mean, seriously, I don't. Does he wear any Alabama logoed apparel when he does the Home Depot commercials?
I mean, the only one I can think of is the Verbo one, like you said.
Yeah.
Because in the Aflac one, he's got the blue suit on.
Yeah. So I don't see him repping the brand of Alabama. I don't know.
It's a mystery.
Well, according to his interview with Pat McAfee today, he knows that Kalen DeBoer has been reaching out to a lot of people trying to do a self-assessment